This is a quick tutorial on how to install a PS4 analog stick on a Dreamcast controller. You can see here this is one I've done previously. I chose the black PS4 analog stick because it's slightly rubberized, so if it was white or grey I think you start to get dirt from your finger on it. But the control of this is far superior than the original ones, especially when you've been playing it for a while and the little grips start to wear off and your finger really slides off. This is concave, slightly rubberized, and you get a very good grip to it. As I've done one already, I know the process that's involved. All you really need is a screwdriver, a little file, and obviously some PS4 analog sticks. These ones I just got from eBay. There's lots of different types, but I would choose a dark one and one that's slightly rubberized on the top, which increases the grip a lot. I know the original PS4 analog sticks are rubbery, so get one that's as close to the original as possible. If we just undo the the 6 bolts at the back, we'll start. I like to collect all my screws and bits and put them in a little tub so they don't get lost. This is a fairly simple mod. I've done it to a lot of my Dreamcast controllers already, and the benefits are great. You can play the games a lot longer without your finger slipping off. Okay, so just remove the back cover and you'll see what's inside here. Now we need to get to the front here, so we need to undo these 2 bolts here. You can also disconnect the cable, and that gets out of the way. If we just put this aside for the moment and keep all the buttons in place and flip it over, now you can see there's the rubberized contact pads. While you've got this apart, it might be worthwhile cleaning these contacts, just even a bit of like cloth that's not wet, just to take the dirt off them. This makes the contact between the rubber, well, the contact surface here, much better, so you don't have to press a button as hard. And also, if your controller's been used a lot, these buttons tend to get really dirty around the edges. I clean mine quite regularly, so I won't need to do that with this. And I've also got quite a lot of controllers, so I don't just use one all the time, the same one. Okay, so the part when you were changing is actually this bit here. This just pulls off, and you see you're left with a shaft. And fortunately the PS4 one is exactly the same shape, and it fits straight on. It should. Okay, there you see it's went on. But the shaft's actually just about a millimetre or 2 long, so the bowl part here actually makes contact with the top of the controller. So if we just file down about a millimetre or maybe a millimetre and a half, it goes on perfectly. I've already put Vaseline in here, inside here, to get a smooth, very smooth flow, and it doesn't stick. That's up to you if you want to do that. You just have to remove these 2 bolts, take this apart, and just put some Vaseline or petroleum jelly inside, and it makes it much smoother. You can either shave this down with a knife, or you can use a file here, whatever you have at hand. So I'll just start filing this down. Just move that out of the way. And make sure you take a little bit around the edge off as well, otherwise it won't slide on as easy. You can, it's a case of trial and error. If you just, once you've got the cap on, you can put the case on it and you can see if it's making contact with the case. So you don't need to do it all in one go. You can just do little by little if you're unsure. And the amount you take off is so small you can still use the original cap. So the mod's fully reversible. I don't think that's enough, but we can try and see, and I'll show you how you can test it. Okay, so I've pushed the cap on. Now if you take the controller, the top of the controller cover, we can push this through and in place. And then if you try to move it, push on the back here so it's firmly in place and move it into all directions, and you can see that's actually been enough. If the analog gets stuck in any place, then you know you've got to take more off. This feels about right actually. Maybe take a tiny little bit more off. I've done it where some controllers you don't even need to take any off the top of the stick and it seems to work okay. So you might be lucky and not need to remove anything off the top. But I'll just take a little bit more, especially off the edges. And also try to make it even. It's quite soft plastic, so it's not really a problem. Again, you can do this with a knife, like a really sharp Swiss Army knife. It's almost like a shaving action you're doing. It might actually be a little bit easier with that. But this is what I've got at hand, so I'm using a file. Like a knife like this might work. I can maybe clean up the edges. Okay. Make sure all the plastics that you've shaved off is out the way. Okay, that's all the way down. Don't forget to put the rubber pads back in. It's easier to put them on the top of the controller first. Give it another test. See, that's perfect. So now we just have to put the screws back in. The two screws here first, and then that holds the buttons in place. And all the screws are the same size, so you can pick any one. Okay. And just make sure everything's clipped in right. of check. Stick feels good, start button works. Then we take the lead. This part here next. Like that. And then the top. It should click in all the way. And again have a quick feel. You should instantly feel how much better the analog stick is. That leaves us with then just the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. Pop them in. And there you have it. Perfect.